definitely a process when we finally decided to go back to America. And to specify, we're not just visiting America. We're done. We're ready. We have a job, a new job waiting for us in America, and we thought it'd be easy doing it. It took a lot. So here's kind of the outline of how, or basically an outline of what happened. We gave birth to Freya, and she was 3 months old. By the time we were ready to leave, we had to go through a visa process to get her visa so we could go back home. And we had to pack up all our stuff. Our apartment had to be checked out, and we had to eliminate things because all of our 2 years of life that we had to be fit into a couple of suitcases. We had a dog that we bought, our Shiba Inu, who will be, I think, a year, like 8 months old at this point. We need to take her with us, so we need to get her certifications done, her medications, all that stuff to make sure she's allowed to go into America. And then we needed to make our way from Wuhan to Beijing, which is not close, with all of our belongings and our things, and fly from Beijing to San Francisco, then go from San Francisco to Oregon, which is where we are now. That sounds like it's a lot, but let me assure you, it's far more than what you think it is already.
So the first thing we had to do was take care of our dog. So what do you have to do? Well, Chris did everything with that,
So there are 4 parts to it. The investigative process, because I didn't know what to do or how to even do this. So that took walking around, looking for people, talking to them. I went to this pet store where we got her and talked to them, who then sent me somewhere else, who then sent me to some doctors, who then sent me to some other pet store that sold Shiba Inus. And eventually I found the answers I was looking for. So then that was the learning process. What kind of stuff, they told me what I needed to do. And they told me where I needed to go to get it started. And then the waiting process after that. Once I learned all that stuff, I went to a different pet store, and they gave me what I needed. They kind of worked some back doors, to be honest, because they told me it would take months to do this, like 6 months, and we only had a month to get things squared away. And she had to get certified for 2 things: Wuhan, going to Beijing, and then from Beijing she had to get another certification to go to America. So they did that for me. I paid them a lump sum, and they kind of did some backdoor stuff, knew somebody in the government to kind of expedite the process, and verify her records to make sure she has all the medication and whatnot. I think she had to get a couple extra dosages too, which was weird. So a lot of these pet stores, they have the drugs on hand, and they administer the drugs on hand. It's not a certified veterinarian. It's not even a doctor at a pet store. It's this little store where, like, son, can you go get the bottle that's in the fridge with a label on it? And it's like this, they have a little shot thing, and they just administer it. They pull up the little skin, they go, psh, and they do it really quick. And to be honest, they probably do it as good of a job as a veterinarian, but it's definitely a spin. It'll throw you for a loop when you see these people who just look like an average family, and they administer drugs. Anyways, we got it done, and it took a long time to do, but luckily we paid money. I think it was like $150, and they got everything, and I still have the little certification stuff for her. But yeah, that was one thing we had to worry about.
So then, I guess the next thing was leaving Wuhan. We had to take the train up to Beijing.
Yeah.
And so Chris took all of our bags, and he took Luna, our dog, and he said those to the train station because there was like a whole process with Luna, and we also had Freya. So I stayed with Freya, and I was gonna come later, and he had to go a few hours early, and me and Freya almost missed the train. We got dropped off on the wrong side of the train station, and I was running around with a stroller.
Keep in mind,
Chris.
she's 3 months old, the little one, and you are recovering from a C-section. I guess, I mean, you're no longer recovering at that point, but you're still breastfeeding. I'm sure there's ramifications, right?
Yeah. It was
by
hot,
herself in a foreign country, in a metropolis. And it was, you're right, it was hot and humid.
Yeah, so we made it to the train, just barely. And then we realized that the train doesn't have any food on it. We assumed there would be food.
Yeah, we booked an overnight train.
Yeah, we booked an overnight train. We thought it would be more comfortable just to get an overnight train, go up with all their bags and everything. And I think that was the only way we could get Luna up or something like that.
No, we missed our first train, remember? No, this was a different time. Okay.
So
yeah.
We got on the train. We were on the train. We realized there's no food.
Why did we get the overnight train though?
There's no food.
Why did we get it? Was it?
I think it was because that was the only way to get Luna up to Beijing.
Are you sure?
Or maybe it was cheaper. Or no, actually, I think you just wanted to try it. I think you really wanted to try an overnight train, and it was kind of cool. It had like little bunk beds, and there's like a little table, a little bathroom in there.
It would have been fine if it weren't for the food.
There was a kettle.
Food was a problem.
So you could have some tea if you wanted to. But we didn't have a lot of stuff with us. We had like one bottle of water, I think.
Did we even have
between
that?
The two of us? And I think that was because it was provided. And then
to clarify, we
and I was breastfeeding, so that was the main thing. So like, you know, fine if it was just us two and Freya, but she was formula fed, then fine, we could suffer through it for the night.
Yeah, the reason we didn't have the food was, well, because we were moving, right? And we had all of our stuff, and we spent the entire day preparing for this overnight train, which it's an overnight train, so it departs at night. So it was like, I think the departure was around 8 p.m. So we hadn't eaten really anything. And to be on point with this, you were breastfeeding with a little one, and you didn't have food. And I was huffing and puffing, moving a bunch of luggage all around all day, along with a dog and a big, huge crate, and sitting out there in the heat. And it was weird when I had to bring her over to the luggage to the train. It was as if I had to load it myself, like the little, what are they called? Little,
the car?
Train cars. Yeah. I can't think of it. Train cars, and I had to load it up myself and put it in there, and it was weird.
But anyway, we made it. You managed to get like a sandwich from one of the crew.
Oh, I didn't get it.
We shared it.
There's
more?
There's more. The reason why we didn't have food.
I thought that's what you said, because we've been working all day.
That was one aspect of it. The other aspect of it was the assumption that the train would have food.
Oh, I said that earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. The fast trains all have food.
Yeah.
The overnight trains do not sell any food.
Which we didn't know. We would think, oh, it's overnight. So there'd be food, but I guess
they told us it was overnight, so there's no food. You're not going to need food because you're sleeping.
Yeah, so how'd you get a sandwich from the crew?
I begged and begged. I went, this is really weird. So I went to different people's little, what are they called? Rooms, I suppose, on the train, and I would knock randomly. I'm like, I need food, and I showed them just like a little thing and a message, and translated from Chinese to English, like, my wife is pregnant, she's breastfeeding, do you have any spare food? We don't have any food. Looking like some beggar or transient person who is just kind of going around on a train. And all the people that I knocked on these doors, they're all tied up in these beautiful tuxedos or suits, even in the middle of the night. These are all business people of the highest caliber in China. And I definitely had a couple that just went shh, shh, and closed it on me. Like, they look at me for a second, read the thing, and then they close it real quick, and then I hear them lock, and I'm like, oh God.
You were gone for a while, then you came back with a sandwich.
I did, and it wasn't one of them who gave it to me. It was the captain. One of the workers there, she brought it, and she said, this is the captain's sandwich. He gave it to you.
Alright, so we shared the sandwich, and everything was fine. So, Freya had food, I had half a sandwich, Chris had half a sandwich, and we shared the water, and then we went to sleep. Then we got to Beijing in the morning, and the first thing we did was look for food. Well, did we get all our bags and
No,
stuff?
we had to
get
do,
all our bags.
you got off, and you got,
Oh, no.
I got the bags. I think I had, did I have somebody waiting for us? I had to, it
you
took
had
a
to
lot.
go somewhere, like, I don't know, it was a whole thing to get the bags in Luna.
Most of the time, this whole process, you were waiting with the dog and the bags, and I was off on missions to make things work. But what did we do?
We did go to KFC to eat. I know that, but they only had breakfast, so it was like congee and what was it like? I don't know. So it wasn't filling. Let's just say that. And I'm just worried about the food part. So
you went to go
talking
eat
about it
at the station, at the Beijing station. That had some food, so you went and got some food, and
you
I
were
went
with me, but I don't.
I had to go pick up the luggage in
remember.
Luna. So I went and got all the luggage in Luna.
We managed to get from there to
And
the airport.
At 12, well, we
Did
went
we have
from,
a van or something?
well, that's what I'm saying. I got the luggage, and I had all that stuff with me, and then I had to get a particular taxi service to stop for us so that we could pack all of our luggage in it and bring us to the airport. So I hired somebody or found somebody while we were driving and booked it to where a van would meet us. So I had to
while
go
we were
meet
on the
them
train.
while we were on the train,
Oh.
and then I met them out there. These people, and I think it was a minivan. And we managed to get all of our stuff and the dog in there, which is this huge, again, huge cage, way bigger than the size that she would typically need for her size.
We got everything in, and we went to the airport. And I think it took a while because
2
traffic
hours.
in Beijing is just
2 hours to go from the
crazy.
train to the airport because of traffic.
So we got to the airport, we get everything out. Then we loaded it on one of those push buggy things.
It was like stacked so high.
Yeah, we had a lot going on.
Dog and luggage and all of our life's belongings on this one cart that was tall, and you stayed with it with Freya, stroller and all that stuff, and you're trying to breastfeed, watch Luna, make sure she's safe, and
well, we went to check in, right? We went inside.
We did go to check in, but we
went inside to check in like normal. You know, we had everything with us. And then there was the big uh-oh moment where we found out we couldn't leave.
Yes, so that was the problem. We go to the desk, we have our visas, which are our visas were about to expire.
We have our passports, we have our tickets, you know, we're good. And we have Freya's
passport.
Birth certificate.
We have her birth certificate, and we have her U.S. passport is what she has. And we go up there, like, here's a passport, and they say, you can't leave with
They're like,
Freya.
where's her visa?
She has to stay.
We're like, what? Her visa? She was born here. She needs a visa? Turns out we were supposed to have signed some paperwork that basically says she was born here, but she's our baby, and we can leave with her if we want to. Something like that. That kind of visa. So we couldn't leave because we needed a special visa for the baby.
Yeah.
So then we were freaking out.
Well, the biggest problem
our
was...
flight is going to be leaving.
Yeah.
We were like, how do we get this? What was the biggest problem?
The biggest problem was we were told how long it would take to get it. Our flight was leaving.
So we called the consulate, right?
Yeah, our flight was leaving in just a second, or in like an hour or something. And
well, I mean, we probably could have made the flight, we thought, but then it turned out it was going to take.
Oh no, it was not an hour. It was like 6 hours.
We had a while.
No, it's months.
We had a while for the flight to, like a few hours for the flight to come. So At first I thought, well, maybe we could get it done within the time frame, but
anyways, so yeah, we had a flight to catch, and we thought we could figure it out. Every time we called someone, we called S first, and she told us, we called everybody and texted everybody on WeChat and everything, all of our friends to kind of help us with this. The company that hired us, we were in
all
conversations.
Confused. They had really
no
dealt with
idea
anything like this before.
They didn't know anything about it either.
So
we called, I talked to the U.S. consulate. They said they couldn't do anything, and everything seemed to be out of hand, and we had no way of getting home. And I was really mad, and I think I was yelling over the phone at the U.S. consulate because I was so dumbfounded that the embassy that is in these countries is not really helping the citizens. And like, this is a time that they would be able to do something, and they're like, oh no, it's out of our hands, we can't do anything, sorry, you have to go through the normal Chinese government process. Well, why are you here? Well, what's your purpose? Probably some other stuff, but
so
I was frustrated.
We didn't know. We then you went some places.
Well, it's more than just with some places. It's a whole process.
Where'd you go?
Well, you had to wait. So you waited,
yeah,
and then I went
places. So where did you go?
You waited with the dog, with all the luggage and the baby, and I went to, I believe I went to some sort of consulate, some sort of Chinese building in Beijing where foreigners go, and some other Chinese people, but mostly internationals, come in and deal with paperwork. And I come in blazing, like ready to go as fast as I can, because I still have it in my mind, we can get this, I can come back, and we can go fly today. Because the other problem we didn't talk about was our visas expire in like a day or two. So we had to leave the country. You remember that?
So what happened?
Well, when I went there, I was told to go to the front of the line, and then I got cursed out by a bunch of people behind who looked at me and had been waiting there for hours on end. They said, no, go out. That was at the end of it.
That was the embassy.
That wasn't the embassy. That was
where you said you got cursed out by a bunch of like foreigners.
It was a Chinese building. It's kind of like an embassy, but it's for the internationals. I got cussed out and cursed out by all these people.
They were pissed.
Like, what are you doing? Get to the back of the line. I'm like, they told me to. And
so then what happened?
I went to the back of the line anyways to appease them, and then finally somebody escorted me to the front
and then
afterwards. What? And then they told me that they can't do anything about it. They told me they can't do anything about it, and so they said it's going to be a 3-month process.
So then
I told them we can't do that. Our visas expire in like a day or two, so can we expedite this? They said no, and I kept on pressuring them, and finally they went to go get their supervisor or something. They said, we'll look into it, we'll let you know later. So I had to go back with the bad news, and by the way, this drive from the airport to this place is 2 hours. 2 hours in traffic. So I get an Uber, or in this case it's DD in China, and ride for 2 hours there, do the whole thing I just talked about, then 2 hours back to deliver the bad news, and then you're like, what?
Then you had to leave again.
Well, then I had to go again because we needed a place to stay. I needed to find a hotel for us to stay.
Oh,
so
well,
I went
we did take the ticket, so we then went to go tell them the situation, right?
Huh?
With the ticket.
What ticket?
Our plane ticket, because we knew we weren't going to make the plane. And I think we went to the desk, right? Didn't we go to the desk to talk about the ticket, like rescheduling, or I don't know? Luna,
no, because we didn't have a reschedule opportunity.
Weren't we going to try
yet.
to get a refund or something?
I think we did have to try.
I'm sure we probably talked to them to try to get a refund.
We did try to stop and say I guess we did something, not a refund, but we had to now figure out what to do with the ticket and
when
cancel
did we
that.
find out about Luna paying?
Not until the very end.
When we came back again.
Yeah, so then we go in from there to find a hotel. I try to find one that's the closest one by the airport, just to get us situated and find a place to sleep. and it ends up being some super expensive hotel that was still being built and did not have any amenities. No buffet, no. Don't I sound so bougie right now? It had no buffet, no swimming pool, and no jacuzzi. Like, oh my god, I need my gym.
It was a bougie hotel, I think. It was just like a nice room, but then that's it. So like you find your own food, you find your own this. We were used to the hotels where you got like at least a breakfast.
For $200, there was
in there.
nothing. It was just
but
a room.
I was so happy when we got there because I was exhausted.
Well,
even though I had been sitting for a long time. Me and Freya, I took a long bath. There was a nice little bath.
While you were able to relax, I had to deal with,
Chris had to deal with
Luna. So
dog.
this is not a pet-friendly hotel. So I asked him, I said, what can I do about our pet? We need to take her somewhere, do something with her. She can't just be, you know, outside sleeping or something. So they helped me find a kind of a pet hotel type situation. It's a pet store / pet hotel thing. They helped me find it. They booked it for me, helped me book it, and then I had to go take Luna over there. So I went and got an Uber, or DD in this case again, and drove with Luna and dropped her off at this place for overnight. And we stayed there for one night. But
didn't you have to get like a special leash or something? Or did you leave something? I forget. Oh no.
I don't remember.
Never mind. Okay, so then you came back and you
Yeah,
finally...
that was about an hour drive away
We ordered
too.
some food.
So an hour there, drop her off, hour back, and then we came back and finally I got to
relax a little bit
for a day,
so
freaking out what to do.
We also had to figure out when did we book the place to stay?
Well, I booked a night.
At that point?
We didn't have a. All I knew is we could stay there for one night. Well, we knew that I think the company was going to help figure out things, and we were still learning stuff, so we didn't know. And then we booked this hotel for one night, and after that,
the next day did we go to
the next day we had to go somewhere
government
else.
place, and then
we learned that it's going to
be
they could get it done, but it's going to be like
3 days or something.
A week or something like that, maybe 3 or 4 days. They can expedite it, which was good. But then we had to go somewhere else, and this hotel was again $200 a night, so we had to pack up again.
Oh, we rode around, I think. Wait, no. Did we ride around looking for... I think we found a hotel, but we couldn't stay there. Actually, I'm confusing. This was a different time. Okay, so, yeah, we found a place. You found a place to stay on Airbnb.
Did we go to multiple ones, or was it just the one?
I think you just booked it. And
there was one, we went look for the cheapest one. It was 70 RMB per night, which is like $10.
This is great. Oh my gosh, I found
the pictures look great.
Thing. This room looks good. And so we pull up to this college campus.
You can't even tell it's a college campus. It's really weird. It's a weird, maybe this is all Chinese campuses. But it's not a campus in what you think it is. It's like a couple of buildings, and the dorms
like art institute
were underneath. You didn't know that there's a dormitory in there, so it was really hard to find.
Yeah, we were actually confused on where the rooms were. The driver kind of helped.
Luna was with us, right?
Too. We were all, everyone was in there.
I got Luna back again?
We had a really nice driver.
Oh, so I had to go back and get Luna. Yeah, I had to go drive, get an hour, drive out, get Luna, then come back, and then leave again.
Someone lost the leash or something, so that was like a whole drama.
A reminder, this is still with all of our stuff and a 3-month-old.
With all of our things that we're moving to America with, yeah. So we go to this Airbnb. It's just like somebody's dorm room that they've rented out.
And this Airbnb was about an hour drive away at least.
And it's a room. We had a place to stay. It was
as we walked to it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Because the bathroom was stank. Something was going on with the drainage and the sewer.
We got the place that was cheap because it was by the sewage.
It was so stank and like humid in there that we had to keep the window open. But then because we had the window open, the mosquitoes were swarming us.
So just so you imagine, we had a
mosquito net over Freya in her stroller.
Yes, I know.
Because it was just so
we were having her sleep in the stroller. So the reason it smelled so bad was not only because we were by the sewage, but because all the dorms again were underground.
Yeah.
And these mosquitoes still somehow found a way to get underground. Don't get me wrong, the architecture design of the whole place was really cool. It was a fascinating way to live, but it was a nasty little hole, and we had to stay there for like 3 or 4 days.
I took a sink bath all of those days.
I didn't take baths.
I didn't fully properly bathe because it was not gonna happen.
It smelled awful.
But we had a place to stay, and it was very cheap.
And Luna could go there, which was great. She had like a little area, and I'd walk her around. They had like a little convenience store stop because it's like a little college place.
We got a few things from there, but it was really not near anything. It's just the college campus, like
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so it's not like we could go to like different stores nearby or explore. We could explore the campus.
Not that we wanted to.
That was it. It was hot. We were tired. We were kind of worn down. You know, we just wanted to get it over with.
And I think I had to do multiple trips during that time to get things squared away for paperwork, which is again another 2-hour trip every time, going through Beijing traffic. No matter what time of day, it's still going to be 2 hours going from point A to point B. It's ridiculous.
Then we got the paperwork. I guess it was a visa or passport or something. I don't remember what it was, but we got it. And we booked our flight, and we're good to go.
Well, I had to go from that place to get the paperwork, and then I got part of it, and I had to go to the U.S. Embassy.
Oh, to get the rest?
It was an all-day affair. Like, you don't even know, but it was 2 hours to go from the dorm to the place to pick up the paper, then take the paper and take it over to the embassy to get it, like, notarized or something, wait in line for that for 3 hours, and then drive over somewhere else to some other government building, that's a Chinese government building, show them this, and then I could book a ticket. And I was able to book a ticket through one of their things. It wasn't like a book a ticket at the airport, it was book a ticket at this place. So I went there and booked a ticket. And then once I had all that stuff, then we went back to the airport with all the stuff. I went back to you, we got all our stuff, we left the place, packed everything up again, living out of suitcases and all of our belongings with like 5 or 6 bags or whatever.
Bit up with mosquitoes and smelling like
Actually,
sewage.
I think we did pretty good. We didn't get bit, I don't think.
And then
but we went there,
to the
airport, we booked our flight, and we got Luna ready to go. She's got her thing, and they're like, oh, it's going to cost an extra $800. Huh? What? But I booked it. I paid like $200 at the place. They told me that's all I had to pay. No, for international thing, it's much higher. You have to pay for it. I'm sorry that you didn't. Like, I about cursed up a storm.
But we paid it, and then we were finally able to leave, right? I think you had to do a whole thing with Luna where you
had to take her off into a special place, which is, this is, just so you know, this is terrible for her too. She had a 12-hour train ride in this little box. And they like threw ice on her so she wouldn't get hot, because this is summertime, by the way, in a box car, 12 hours, and then she had to go from there and just stayed in the box while we traveled everywhere in cars and stuff. And then she was able to finally walk around, but in this tiny little dorm room, she was able to walk around and use the restroom and stuff.
She was fine in the dorm room, but then we had to go back. And then we had to do
another 12-hour trip by plane she had to suffer through. And that's not the end of it, because when we landed, when we got our ticket, it wasn't a ticket from San Francisco. We went from Beijing to San Francisco, but we didn't have enough money, or for whatever reason, we decided we're not going to fly from San Francisco to Medford. It might have been because of Luna, because they can't fit a pet.
I think it was because of Luna we couldn't find a flight, so we had to rent a car.
So we rented a car, and so that was
Then we had to figure out how to work a car seat.
7-hour drive.
We didn't know how to work a car seat.
Yeah.
The rental company kind of...
So in China...
didn't know. We all kind of tried to put it together.
We had a 3-month-old, but in China, you do not have car seats in taxis. You do not have car seats anywhere. They're getting better at it. More the meaty.
If you have your own car, you'll probably have a car seat in there. But we took taxis.
Some of the higher class people would have car seats in China when we left.
You don't have to have a car seat, and it's not looked down on. So.
But they were adopting it. Some of the more younger generation.
Jay and his wife had a car seat.
But yeah, we had to figure out how to do it, and then we got. Then Luna and all of our luggage again driving from San Francisco to Medford, and that was 7 hours.
And that's it.